Okay, Andy Clarkson here with John Lewis at the Charlotte Tea Party, April 9th, 2009. April 15th,
April 15th,
April 15th, tax day, yeah.
Yeah, this is the taxes are due today. Did you not know that?
Yeah, yeah, I heard about that. I heard rumors. John, magnificent speech today.
Thank you very much.
Not only was it passionate, it had fundamental ideas, and that's the key. What is the meaning of today's tea parties all across the country? There are over 500 of them. What does this mean, in your opinion?
The tea parties themselves, I think, are a spontaneous expression by people that they are outraged, they're upset, and they don't want to take it anymore. The problem with that is I don't know how people understand the issue, because it won't be sustainable unless it's understood.
Okay.
If they're just outraged at high taxes, but not willing to challenge the programs, there will not be fundamental change.
What ideas do people need to understand? What is important for fundamental change?
Well, they need to understand that liberty means what it says, freedom to act, and is not compatible with the government programs that we're seeing today. And that means that when the government comes forth and offers $1 million in town for a new museum, or a new bridge, or a new highway, or a new school, are they going to stand up and say no to that? Or are they going to demand the program and then want lower taxes? Because if they do that, they'll be in the Bush administration position, where they want to cut taxes but raise spending, and that increases more debt. You've got to challenge the programs, including the ones that we might think would be nice for us for the moment. And if they can do that, then this will be sustainable. And if not, it will gather and it will fizz up.
So it sounds like a great contradiction here, possibly.
Yeah.
People wanting lower taxes and they want some of the programs you just mentioned. What fundamentally drives this contradiction in the American people?
Well, I mean, it has been 3 generations. Just take one program, for example, Social Security. Mm-hmm. It's been 3 generations of people getting used to the fact that at age 65, they will get some money. Now, I myself am perfectly willing right now to forego all Social Security benefits if I could stop my Social Security payments and see taxes drop. But how many people would be willing to do that? I hope the people here would be willing to do that. But if they're not, then the prescription is raise spending, lower taxes, which increases debt. And in that sense, it's really not fair to our politicians to demand that they give us programs but lower our taxes. It's not fair to the politicians. People have to accept that we bear much responsibility for this. We have elected the people who would do this.
And what will get us to change the people we elect? Is something fundamental about the ideas?
I think it's going to have to take the idea, the real understanding that we are morally autonomous beings and do not have the right to the lives of others. And to make the connection that when we see a government program coming our way, it is being taken from somebody else, either now or in the future, or from interest on what's borrowed overseas. And people have to be willing to say, no, I don't want the benefit either. As well as I don't want the tax. Okay. And that's going to take a fundamentally new, I think, understanding than what's happened in the last 2 generations.
Yeah, you mentioned in your great speech something about the role of government versus the role of the people. You had a servant-master relationship, which I think is a unique idea that most people are not familiar with. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, for 3,000 years of Western history, before the founding of America, every individual is seen fundamentally as the servant of the state. Some way or another, if the king called, if the clerics called, if the aristocracy called, if the warlord called, then you were bound and determined to serve him. From the tribute of the ancient Egyptians and the ancient Near Easterners, through even the Greeks and for all their great things, through the Romans, through the medieval period, right up to the modern day, it has been the idea that citizens are servants of the government. The radical American idea was that the government was the servant of the individual. The purpose of government, the very reason we have one, is to secure and protect our rights. It changes that whole relationship. And what's happened under the influence of modern philosophy in the last 2 generations is that situation is reversed back, so that the government is now the master and we are now the servants. And that is the reason for these encroaching government regulations, the subsidies as well as the regulations.
Other than listening to your speech over and over again on YouTube, where it will appear.
Okay.
What other resources do you recommend people go to understand the ideas you're professing?
Well, I suggest you go to the Ayn Rand Institute. The Ayn Rand Institute is the only organization in the country I know of that looks at this from a moral perspective. And that is the perspective, that is the level we have to get at. It's beyond economics and it's beyond politics. It's at a moral conception of man. They're the only people doing it. And I would suggest to read the works of Ayn Rand, read Atlas Shrugged, read The Fountainhead, and then read her nonfiction works. And that's the single biggest source of information you can have.
That's great. John, again, great speech again. Thank you for your time today. Great seeing you. Take care.